Another D.C. shutdown this time. It could be the metro system. Officials saying the D.C. metro needs so many repairs, they may have to shut down the whole thing for half of the year at a cost of $1 billion. And that's your money, no matter where you live. John, you say this is always what happens with government-run projects.
Yeah, imagine if Southwest Airlines or Disneyland decide, oh, we're just going to shut down for 6 months. They could never do it because their investors would not allow it. And that's the problem with government-run entities. They do not have investors to serve, hence they are not disciplined by the market. Imagine how nice the metro would be and how few shutdowns there would be if it were owned by private entities.
Right. Well, Bruce, let's take another government-owned entity, Amtrak. It used to be private. The government took it over. Look at this. From 2009 to 2014, been losing more than $1 billion every single year. No private company could do that.
Well, I think this story, when I first saw this story, it was a sign to me that we have a crumbling infrastructure in this country that needs to be addressed on all levels. And you don't even hear the presidential candidates talking about it. Now, whether you want to fee people and you want to raise fees, or you want to talk about a gas tax, or if you want to fee all these fat cat lobbyists as they head to work downtown and run up spending, you know, there's got to be a different way to look at this from an infrastructure standpoint.
But Steve, this goes beyond infrastructure. The post office, look at how much money they're losing. $3 billion, $8 billion, $5 billion, $16 billion. They don't rely on infrastructure. I mean, they're losing money because it's government run, right?
Yeah, they don't have to satisfy the public as long as they know the gravy train is there. And as for infrastructure, you notice there's no infrastructure crisis where private companies run it. Yes. We don't have an infrastructure crisis with freight railroads because they do the best in the world. You don't have shortages of trucks with FedEx or UPS because they have to serve the public, and they know if they don't, they lose. Again, politicians just know they have to feed the special interests. The public be damned.
And EMAC, the public sector has to deal with public sector unions, which have a stranglehold over the decisions and the contract.
They've got no more sense than a flock of geese down there in Washington, D.C. Mike Ozanian pointed this out. Half of the capital budget for this train station goes to union fringe benefits. Guess what? They're moving to privatize rail service in Florida. That could perform very nicely.
And Sabrina, I got to bring it back to Donald Trump, because remember that ice skating rink in Central Park in Manhattan? The government, the city government, granted this was a city government, but they were working out 5 years. He said, he took it over in 3 months and under budget. He was finished with it. The private sector does it better.
Right, and you showed, David, all of those, lists of all the ways that we're losing money at the post office and an Amtrak. And it's no surprise that's exactly why Democrats, when this story broke, immediately went to their, lawmakers in Congress and said, we need more money. There's still no accountability.
Bill, shouldn't we just privatize all of this? Wouldn't that make sense?
No, David, there's nothing magical about private ownership. Back in the days of private ownership a century ago, there were plenty of passenger railroad bankruptcies, and they weren't safe either. The train wrecks on the Long Island Railroad killed an awful lot more people under private ownership than in the 50 years since.
John, 5 seconds. How do you rebut that?
Well, as usual, Steve's always right. Why doesn't the private sector now ever have any infrastructure problems?
Okay. Steve's always right. I think we always end with that. Coming up, you might not have done well with your NCAA bracket, but our informers have the picks that could make up for it. Champion picks coming next.